The Heresy Accountabilibuddies Podcast is dedicated to all things Horus Heresy. This podcast delves into the grimdark universe where Primarchs clash, legions rise, and loyalties fracture faster than a Land Raider's track. But it's not just about the lore of the Horus Heresy. The Accountabilibuddies also explore the gaming side of things, from painting and modeling tips to product reviews and ideas to help you in your hobby. So, whether you're a seasoned Forge World veteran or a fresh-faced scout, this podcast is your Vox channel to the galaxy. Expect discussions on lore, modeling, gaming, and maybe even the shenanigans that your hosts somehow seem to find their way into. Remember, in the grim darkness of the far future, there are only two things you can count on: heresy and your trusty Accountabilibuddies.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Heresy Accountabilibuddies Podcast. I, as most often, frequently am Duncan, and I am joined tonight by my co-hosts,
Jack
and John.
And we have a special guest tonight with us. Go ahead and say your name, sir.
It's me, Ben Marsh.
From Nova, the organizer for the Nova Heresy stuff. We're glad to have you here with us, my friend.
Well, I'm glad to be here as well. Thank you.
Cool. So, before we do anything else, let's go ahead and throw our sponsors and pay the bills, as it were. So, insert sponsor thing here.
Do you love resin bases? Then go to our sponsor, Elric Hobbies, for all of your basing and basing accessory needs. Use code HeresyABB at checkout for a discount. Legendary Monument Hobbies. Monument Hobbies is a one-stop shop for all of your painting needs. Use code HeresyABB at checkout for a 5% discount on your purchase. Pop Goes the Monkey. Find maker of third-party accessory bits of arms, legs, backpacks, and more, where you can get 10% off your first order over $125 with code HeresyABB at checkout.
Ding. All right, cool. And thank you also to all our Patreons out there in Patreon land. We appreciate everything you do to help us along. So before we go too far into anything, let's get started with what we've done hobby-wise recently. And I'll go first. Since our last recording, I've done no hobby stuff because I went and I took a vacation to the Outer Banks and did absolutely nothing heresy or hobby related other than buy a pack of X-Acto knives from Harbor Freight. John, what have you done?
Yeah, so literally the day after our last recording, I got smashed with Concred and spent a couple days wiped out. I'd hoped to be starting right onto the table for Blake from our last contest, and really just couldn't do anything for a few days. I did manage to get all that stuff started, though. I got it all built, got it all painted, and I started clear coating all of it. And I've got one last layer of clear coat to go before I start doing some of the extra weathering and then working on some of the extra add-ons I want to put in it, including a upcoming collaboration with a Instagram guy. He's going to let us use some of his artwork for some really cool posters.
No, neat.
So,
That's
I will talk more about that when that comes up.
All right. Well, cool. Jack, I think that kicks it over to you, buddy.
Jack.
I did not die. And on to the news.
Okay.
So news-wise, we've missed a couple of weeks. We had the, and we have to say it. We're going to go through it quick because they did. We had the roadmap announcement.
Yep.
Yep, we sure did.
All right. Well, we'll probably hit on that during the Nova stuff. So let's just skip over that for right now.
Yeah. So after the roadmap announcement, we got the pre-orders for the actual Mechanicum book. That drops next weekend, along with the Thalax, Earth Sanitar, the Krios, and the Castellax. The Castellax are a little weird in that you only get one of each gun, so that kind of sucks. but it's nice to see them finally coming out in plastic. Official GW stuff, but not Heresy related. Space Marine 2 launched, and so anyone that bought the Gold Edition or the Collector's Edition got all their stuff. I've been playing a little bit between the Con Crud. I got through like the first couple first levels and ran into some issues with AI being dumb as a box of rocks for being Space Marines, but it's pretty fun. If you guys want to, it'll officially launch on the 9th, which is tomorrow as we're recording this, so it'll be pretty fun to get all the other guys in there. I made a couple of chat channels in our area for looking for PvP and PvE groups, since I know that the PvE stuff is going to be cross-platform, while PvP is kind of limited to the box that you're playing on. To come with the Space Marine 2 launch, Displate dropped 3 special Displates. These are kind of artwork on a metal poster. It's Titus kind of in a big pyramid thing. They also dropped 3 Joy Toy figures that are Titus, Charon, and Gadriel. Those are the 3 main characters of the Space Marine 2 game. These Joy Toys are actually really neat. They're customizable. And so you get the normal Primaris figure. You also get jump pack. So basically, they can be whatever you're going to run through the game. And then they launched a couple other weird things for Space Marine 2. They have a varsity jacket. As much as I like weird GW stuff, this is just out of my league. It's not even Ultramarines blue. It's like a baby blue. It's really weird. And then they also launched what they call the Space Marine 2 limited edition merch collection. So I'm going to tell you what's in it, and then you tell me what you think GW is charging for this. Ready?
Yeah, have at it.
A custom box with wraparound print and a magnetic lid. A limited edition premium cotton hoodie featuring Ultramarines artwork. Exclusive limited edition cotton t-shirt. Ultramarine 600 milliliter stainless steel vacuum sealed water bottle. An Ultramarine scarf. A limited edition bolter keychain. And an Ultramarine an Ultramarine sticker set.
Okay.
That is it.
The box, I'm assuming it's cardboard, not wood or
Yep,
or
it's
anything.
cardboard.
Okay. $700.
180.
Okay, obviously I was way off, but not by as much as I thought I would be.
Yeah. Again, like, I don't mind paying GW prices for some stuff, but I like I said, joke, I was like, oh yeah, I can kind of see like a $60 hoodie and a $40 t-shirt and a $30 scarf and a $30 bottle. And I'm like, I'm still not near $180.
I mean,
and that's what GW usually charges for hoodies and t-shirts, and I considered that outrageous.
that's a little much.
Yeah.
But it's okay. It could be worse. I mean,
Yep.
we've seen worse pricing on other things, so.
I mean,
Okay.
I'll admit, it is a really cool shirt and hoodie. It sucks they're not available separately. The other stuff in that box is just not doing it for me. I've never worn a scarf in my life, and I don't think I would start with this goofy looking thing.
Okay.
And then that's really been it. It's been kind of Space Marine 2 has really kind of destroyed everything else coming out. I don't think GW wants to drop anything when that hits. So, like I said, the mech stuff officially drops next weekend on the 14th. And then we've been seeing a lot of scans of it already online, but we don't talk about that till it's officially out.
Yep. Well, anything from new people or Heresy stuff that might be related and cool?
I got one last site to check. Starforged. Oh yeah, Starforged put out a bunch of Heresy magnets. And so these are the chapter banners that you get on the decal sheet as metal banners that are also magnets for your fridge or wherever you want to put them. They've got 2 Alpha Legion, Imperial Fist, 2 Raven Guard, 2 White Scars, 2 Emperor's Children, 2 Dark Angels, 1 Ultramarines, 2 Word Bearers, 2 Blood Angels, Space Wolves, Death Guards, 2 Iron Warriors, 3 Iron Warriors, pardon, 2 Night Lords, and then there's a 3rd Alpha Legion. They call it Alpha Areas, but these are really cool. They're almost exact carbon copies of the decal sheets as the magnets, and I've got the 40K one already, and it's really cool looking. So I would recommend if y'all, if you've got a fridge that's already cluttered up with a bunch of other stuff, you might as well throw some Heresy stuff on there.
Well, I have a fridge that's coated with stuff, but I didn't hear any of the 2 legions that I really would like a banner from in there, unfortunately.
3 Iron Warriors?
Well, okay. Yeah, I like the Iron Warriors, and I would take 1 or 2 of those. But I didn't hear any from the Sons of Horus or from the World Eaters.
Yeah, I thought that was a little odd too, that the big push being Sons of Horus and Imperial Fist. Imperial Fist got stuff, but Sons of Horus didn't.
Yeah.
And then the 2 word bearers are very close to the same image.
I don't quite understand that, but okay, whatever. I guess, we can all handle it.
Yeah. But they've got the top looks a lot like the new command set with the eagle clutching a globe and then a spiky rim around it. So they're pretty cool looking.
Okay. Have you looked at the announcement from Steamforged Games that they're going to be releasing the P3 paints via Kickstarter?
Yeah.
I think it's something we might want to mention because apparently they're putting coal black back out. And I know, a lot of people loved that color.
Yeah, it's Steamforged is a little new to the hobby space. They've got a lot of other games, like board games mainly, that they've been doing before. They did the Dark Souls board game and Guild Ball and some other stuff that we've probably seen played at your local. They also did the Horizon Zero Dawn, Epic Encounters, and Sea of Thieves. So a bunch of Kickstarters that have come off really well. And they picked up all of the War Machine IPs when those hit. Bankruptcy.
Yeah, I haven't really played any of their games, honestly. I've looked at their stuff before, and I've used some of their paints before, but I've never played any of their other games. So I'm looking at it as more paint and paint options. So maybe, I don't know. I'm really happy with what I have right now, but this is definitely something that is interesting to me.
What I like is that the preview they show, they're all in dropper bottles.
Yep.
And if anyone knows anything about P3, the original P3 paint range had a bad exploding problem.
I did not actually know that.
Yeah, their metals, there was some type of bad mix on the first print run. And because they were flip tops, the flip top would pop after about 12 hours or so. I had a buddy who moved a lot, and so he kept all his paints in Tupperware. And so he bought the entire P3 range when it dropped, and all the metals blew overnight, and he thought he was getting shot at.
Jeez, that sounds atrocious.
Yeah, and so these being in dropper bottles, you're not going to have that ease of popping, so there's going to be a little give in the dropper, and you can obviously open them a lot easier than having to worry about, because when they would pop, it was violent, and so it just blurted all over the Tupperware.
No, that's bad.
Yeah, I just dropped to their website. It looks like this is going to drop in a couple days, so it should be on the 10th, which is this coming Tuesday.
Yep, that's what I've been looking at. I keep getting them as ads in Facebook, or in Facebook and Instagram. So I'm like, yeah, I'm following it. I'll see what you all have when it comes out. But mostly the only one of their paints that I'm really interested in is that coal black. So we'll see what goes on.
The Rulic Bronze or Rulic Gold or something like that. I always loved doing that as my base coat when I would do more golds, more in-depth gold. But
I never used that.
It's really good as a dark gold base coat.
Okay,
you can build up from there.
I've mostly been using Viking Gold, I think it is. I've got it right here beside me.
I've gone. While you're digging for that,
I've been using Scale 75's Metal and Alchemy Viking Gold for darker golds. That or Necro Gold.
Necro Gold's become my go-to now. If I'm not doing like in-depth golds, I've become super lazy now, and I just do a brown base coat, and I do the rub and buff, which is a wax-based kind of solution that came out of the old Forge World how-to book. I just do that over the brown, and that's what gets my basic shoulder pads and things like that I can do quickly.
I remember you talking about that a while back.
It's good stuff. It's just when it's dry, it's dead, and it goes through brushes really fast. So you'll always see my house whenever I have brushes that are past their prime for painting, I always move them onto the rub and buff, and they go for about 10 Marines and they get chunked.
Okay. Well, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, that's all the hobby news we've got this week.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think there is any more hobby news, at least nothing I've heard of. But we have been joined by a wild Jamie who has just showed up. Jamie, welcome aboard, sir.
Hello.
Quick recap. Did you do anything the last 2 weeks, hobby-wise?
2 weeks, yes, I did. I started building the White Scars toys for Todd's Army.
Okay, cool. Anything else?
Couple speeders, couple tac squads, ordered some more parts that I needed, printed some parts I needed, that kind of stuff. And then this week, nothing. Zero zip. I literally just walked in the door a couple minutes ago from Florida.
Welcome back, sir. I know the feeling. How long was your drive?
Well, it rained probably 3/4 of it. And so it was about 9.5 hours or something like that. And I drove it all while my wife slept.
There you go.
Yeah, so I'm a little wiped out. So
I understand that. Ben, have you done any hobby stuff? Because we didn't actually ask you since the last time you've been on here, other than Nova, as it were.
A lot, excuse me, a lot of my personal hobby stuff has kind of taken took a break while I was getting stuff prepared for Nova. So there's a lot of working on terrain, and a lot of it's my terrain anyway. So I mean, I guess it's kind of my hobby. So did a lot of terrain work. I treated myself after Nova and got a really nice deal on about 6,000 points of Imperial Fists that are being shipped to me. So yeah, that was a decision I made. I'm not sure if it was the right one, but it's the one that I made, and I stand behind it. Been slowly working on some Titanicus stuff. Picked up one of the local gaming stores was doing a fire sale on some of their overstock, so ended up getting 2 War Masters for like 75% off. I'm a simple man. I see 75% off Titanicus stuff, I buy. So starting the prep process on those. They'll probably be done somewhere in 2026. And yeah, that's about it for me personally. I haven't really had a lot of time, and certainly the last week it's mostly been catching up at real people work and getting prepared for the next event that I'm running. So
Okay. Well, that's kind of a good place to transition, I think, since we're out of news and we're out of our own hobby stuff. You run Nova, or not like the entire con, but the Heresy stuff at Nova, right?
I do. It is. I am technically the lead of a small team of hobbyists and gamers that have come together to run these events. This was our third year getting to work with the new Nova executive staff, and it's been a awesome experience. I have loved working with their team. The Nova staff has always been just very kind and easy to work with, and just they've never given us a task that was that we thought was beyond our capabilities. So they've pushed us to do some things that maybe we wouldn't have done, but it's ended up working out really well. So but yeah, so this year was it was an interesting one. It was good, very positive overall, but it was interesting. So from last year, our team ended up getting shrunk by about, well, we lost 6 people, gained 3, and then lost another one the week before the event. So we were down a number of staff from last year, but we expanded our offerings and changed them up a lot this year. So we shifted a lot of our events to we split a few events up so that there was multiple versions of it across multiple days. I'll get to that in a minute. But it was a lot this year, and I think that was, if there was a negative to this year, it was just the workload this year ended up being a lot higher than I think we wanted it to be, just because the amount of people that we had to throw at various tasks was lower than we had last year. But we ran 17 events over 5 days, and that includes all things Heresy, so Legions Imperialis and Titanicus, and Battlefleet Gothic. So we didn't do any Aeronautica this year. It just didn't seem like there was enough want for that event. So we ended up selling somewhere around, I want to say it was right under 500 tickets across all of the events. Started Wednesday the 27th or 28th of August and went all the way to Sunday. So I mean, we were booking it.
So you were actually having people show up, pay for, register for, show up and play on Sunday events as well?
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
I know that traditionally, most of the time, like for example, at a DEFCON, there's not been a lot of Sunday events going on before.
Well, and there wasn't at Nova the first year we ran it, or in my experience as an attendee, there was nothing Heresy related on Sunday then either. But as the event has grown, and I think that they saw that Sunday was just being used as a cleanup day, even though it was technically a full convention day. So people were shutting down early and just getting the heck out of Dodge. So they asked us last year if we would be willing to do something on Sunday, and we accepted. I don't leave on Sunday anyway. I like taking that whole day to just kind of rest, relax, let as many people leave the hotel venue as possible, so I don't have to fight that traffic, and I just get another night of rest. But so we have a small. It's a much more casual event, but it's a small Centurion event that we run on Sunday. And we did end up selling a good amount, and then knowing that by the time Sunday rolls around, I expect a few people to end up dropping out or not playing the entire event. But it was reasonably successful this year. I think we sold 20 tickets to the Sunday event, and I think 12 people showed up. I don't think they all. I know they didn't all finish it. It was just a 2-game event, but I think people liked coming in, playing a game, getting a match in, and then being able to mosey out. So it ended up working out well. So that's something that we'll continue doing. But I'll go over our event listing. So on Wednesday night, we do a blind date, what we call the blind date Centurion, and it's just a mixed doubles event. So you just one person per ticket. You come in and we randomly match you. It's meant to be a icebreaker event, so you can meet hopefully 3 new people that you don't know and just get to have a nice casual game, talk, get to know one another, hopefully make some new friends. That goes on at the same time as the Games Workshop reveal. I personally am not really interested in doing the reveals. Personally, I've done it before, but I just as soon hang out with my friends and then see the exact same pictures that they saw 10 minutes later. It really doesn't interest me much. So we decided that we would run a casual event that night for anyone who didn't feel like going or wasn't able to get a ticket to go in. So that has been very happily received. Unlike the roadmap, the amount of people that came in and they're cussing up a storm about how terrible that one was this year was astounding to me. Like people were very loudly unhappy with that event this year. But did you guys hear anything about that?
Yeah, it was. We kind of did a live watch listen type deal when we were doing our Wednesday hobby hangout, and yeah, it went over about as well as a train wreck into a nuclear reactor. So
yeah, I wasn't even paying attention to it. I wasn't even checking my phone or seeing anything like that. I was interacting with everyone who had come to the blind dates, and just people came in just pissed. They were like, why did they even do it? Like, we get more stuff on the Sunday updates. Like they said that there was going to be an update for Heresy, and all we got was basically hey, this is what we did, guys, and hey, next year, tanks. That sounds great, right? While showing us a picture of tanks that are already represented in both Legions Imperialis and full-scale Age of Darkness that have already been made in plastic. So really nothing, no news whatsoever. It's
Right.
a real
So
sad.
hold on. Before we go into a negativity bit here, because Lord knows everyone has strong opinions on this. Let's just take a moment, breathe on that. No one's really cool with what we were given, but we were given something that was better than nothing. And I'm not a GW apologist here, but I'm going to say it's better than getting no news. Not much, but some.
we got melee.
I like that
melee equipment's coming too with tank. So.
Yeah.
I like that they said that they were going to get something new every month, but the problem is I don't know if that means Imperialist or Heresy.
Yeah.
I would hope it's a new Praetor every month for the legions that don't have their own Praetors yet.
Just Praetors.
Yeah, just Praetors.
Out saying that they were going to do Legion stuff for plastic too, like Praetor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
It's just going to be a new Sons of Horus or Imperial Fist Praetor every other month.
You know what? Speaking of someone who plays the Sons of Horus, I'm okay with that because I can convert stuff over to World Eaters or whatever the Legion I need to.
Well, you are in good company because Sons of Horus were the most well represented army at Nova this year.
Well, I mean, realistically, without the Sons of Horus, there would be no Horus Heresy.
You are absolutely right, and there were a lot of Horus fans there that week. I think I don't have the numbers in front of me, but it was something like 10, 15 players with Sons of Horus or different armies, and they all were beautiful. Like, I am not a phenomenal painter at all, so I've got my couple of armies, and they're acceptable at best. But good lord, the armies that were on display this year at Nova were amazing. Just the artistic talent that walks through those events is. I mean, it boggles my mind. I genuinely don't know how people get as good as they do at painting this stuff. But there was a lot of really well done armies. Basically, nearly every army that I saw was fully painted to a very high degree of skill. So I mean, to everyone who was there, kudos to you guys for making it a beautiful event. So But I'll continue on. So that was Wednesday night. Thursday we run. Every day we split it up between morning/afternoon events and then evening events. So the evening events are a little bit shorter. They're 6 hours, where the morning events those extend from like 8:30 in the morning to 6 in the evening, with usually an hour-long break in there for lunch, hour and a half for some events. But on Thursday, we ran in the mornings. We had a Centurion event, what we call opening salvo, which is a traditional like frontline style game, and a Zone Mortalis event. This year, we decided, for a couple of reasons, that instead of having 2 Zone Mortalis events like we did last year, we split that up to be 4 events this year, 2 days, morning and evening. Smaller table numbers, but ultimately a more space across all 4 events to play Zone Mortalis. Part of it was admittedly because we just didn't have access to the terrain that we did last year. Some of the people that were providing that terrain ended up not being able to go or moved or whatever. We just didn't have it available to us. So we wanted, instead of having to reinvest or quickly have to build and paint new terrain, we decided to split up the event across 2 days, 4 events with a smaller amount of tables. And then that also had the added benefit of giving players more opportunity to fit something into their schedule. So I know a lot of players, Heresy players especially, love taking the art classes that Nova provides or seminars. So having more options across multiple days just seemed to make sense for a game that is fairly specialized. Not a lot of people have ZM terrain like they do standard terrain. So Thursday evening, we had another Zone Mortalis, Titanicus, and Strike Team. Strike Team's kind of like it's a Heresy kill team. Friday, we did a frontline event that was a 3,000 point 2-game event using the standard rules. Zone Mortalis, of course, and then Legions Imperialis. So this was the first year that we had done a Legions Imperialis event. I don't even think that it existed last year. I think Adepticon had a couple of Legions Imperialis events, but we had never done it at Nova. So this was a brand new experiment for us, and it was a rousing success. It was completely sold out, and everyone that played looked like they had a fantastic time. Great looking armies. I don't play it, and so I've never really seen just how nice those armies can look in person. So it was really nice to see them go out and enjoy themselves, and all the beautiful armies. Even Mike Brandt, who's one of the Games Workshop community leads, he came out and played one of our Legions events. He's a big Legions Imperialis player, which I did not know, but that was really cool to see him out there. So Thursday night we had another Friday night, Legions Imperialis, along with Zone Mortalis. And then Saturday is kind of that's our big day. We run an event called Excruciatus, which is a 2-game, 3,000 points or 3,500 point games. And that is meant to be the, for lack of a better term, kind of the dick kicker event. You're supposed to go in there like prepared for anything. It's kind of no holds barred. If you want to do the Fury of the Ancients, if you want to bring your Primarchs, Lords of War, Titans, whatever you want, that's the event that you can do it. We always want you to have a conversation with your opponent to make sure that they're kind of cool with what you're about to play, but that's the event that you go to when you just want to bring the biggest and baddest stuff you possibly can. And it lived up to its name this year too. But we run it simultaneously with our doubles event, and the doubles event has been our most popular event every year we've run it. And even when I was just a participant back in 2019, it was the most heavily attended event, and it has been every single year since. So, maxed house for that. A lot of beautiful armies, and some people dressed up for it, and just everyone was having a fantastic time on that one. And then that night, Saturday night, we run our big Apocalypse game. And the Apocalypse game is neat in that every event that we run, there is an overarching narrative that changes depending on which faction is doing better throughout the day. And whoever wins, or whichever faction wins the individual events, there are bonuses that get applied during the Apocalypse game. So the gentleman who runs that for me, Will, he's fun. He's really energetic. He likes to give like a big war speech at the beginning of the event. I think this year was Master and Commander, or it was an excerpt from it. And so that's just our big, get all the big titans onto the table. We set it up where there's area of ZM boards kind of in the middle, frontline area off to the side, and then an area on the end where all the titans can fight it out. Everyone can come in and enjoy the Apocalypse game without feeling like they are just going to be blown off the table and can't do something. And then of course Sunday we go in and we do our little say goodbye Centurion event, and then we clean up and kind of break down and fall asleep or crash out exhausted, and then we go home, and a year's worth of planning is over in a blink of an eye.
Yeah, sounds like an average con regarding the year's worth of planning gone, and then kind of start over again.
It's crazy to me. Like it's a topic of conversation for us, for months and months, and we're looking forward to it. From the second one ends, we're looking forward to the next one, and it's just here and blows by so fast. But from everything that I've seen, everything that I've heard, and I've talked to a good number of people that were in attendance, everything went off without a hitch, and I really credit my team for doing so much work to make sure that happens. I've been a part of events, and I've attended events where stuff does not run smoothly, and it's demoralizing, it's painful, it's hard to get through, and so much of that is mitigated by good planning and people just willing to step up and get the work done. And my team has done a phenomenal job of that, and has every year. Most of the people that are running these events have run it with me for the last 3 years, and hopefully, knock on wood, they will stick with me for as long as I'm able to do this and want to do it, because they are they're some of the best that I've ever had the opportunity to work with.
Okay. Well, let me go ahead and start by saying, thank you for doing all that for the community. I know that there are others out there who put out a lot and put everything into these events that they do. And I know you put a lot into what you've done, and I want to say thank you for that.
Yeah, I mean, you're super thorough on everything you do. And I know you put a lot, just from when we've met you and stuff, we know how much you really care for it. So
I do, and I appreciate that sincerely. Like the money in this is shit, so it's definitely not like the reason to do it. Like it's a labor of love, and that's why anyone that I've ever met does this sort of stuff, because it is a lot. It's a lot of personal responsibility. You're investing in terrain and models and prizes and just a lot of time. But the reason I do it, and like why I hope to continue to do it, is I love the community. I love seeing people have fun. I love making connections and helping others do the same thing. It's what brings me joy. And I have been lucky enough to go to a number of events over the years that I've had a phenomenal time at, and I want to make sure that other people continue to have that opportunity. And I'm able. I've got the time and resources that I can devote to doing it. So I want to keep doing it, and hopefully continue to make it better. So that's why I enjoy having these conversations with you all, all the other groups that I've come into contact with, learn what others are doing, share what I've been doing. I give out all of my event materials. Whoever wants them, they take them, break them, tear them apart, add to them, whatever. Send stuff back to me that you have done. Like, I want to, we're not in competition with each other. I want to make sure that everyone has the fruits of our labors, so that they can go back to their communities and hopefully grow them and connect them and bring them to events. And the community gets tighter, and that's what I really love. That the real community of it all. We say that word a lot, but I really believe in it, and I want to do what I can to strengthen it to the best of my ability.
No complaints there whatsoever. Getting to meet and hang out with you at Dethroned was awesome, and getting to talk to you about Nova and how you've done stuff there, the times you've come on here, counting today, has also been cool.
Oh yeah, it's been great.
So I do have a couple serious questions.
Yeah.
You said you had 500 tickets sold. That's across all 17 of your events, right?
Yes.
Did you sell out any of your events?
Yeah, we sold out, I think, about 7 of the events. And then there were some that we knew we were not going to sell out. There was we just had extra tickets, knowing that we could handle as many players as wanted to be a part of it. And there were some events that we knew probably weren't going to be very successful. So we ran. We have always tried to run some side events that we know are going to be a little smaller, more niche. So Strike Team and Battlefleet Heresy fit that bill this year. We knew that they weren't going to be heavily attended, but they also don't require a lot of resources. So
Good point.
So it's a really, there's not a lot of danger in it for us to offer those, knowing that if no one buys them, then we don't offer that event anymore, or we take it off of the official schedule and do it just on free space that we have during other events. And unfortunately, this year with Battlefleet Heresy, the gentleman who was going to be running it for me ended up getting redirected on a work trip during the week of Nova, so he ended up not being able to run it. And so we had to make some changes to that event last minute. We still had players show up. We still ran it, but it wasn't, highly attended. But all of the ZM events either sold out or got very close to selling out. Titanicus sold out. Both of the frontline events sold out. And both, did I say LI? Both, one of the LI events sold out. The other one, I think, had 2 slots left, and the doubles event sold out. So overall, compared to last year, it was an increase in sales over last year, and it was less. I'll say it was less difficult getting all of the materials put together. Because we already had done so much work last year on our terrain situation, especially for Zone Mortalis, and only needing to put together and have available 12 tables this year versus trying to scrounge and get 22 like we had last year was a huge burden off of our shoulders. But yeah, the events overall sold very well.
I have no idea where we were.
I answered your question. It was very thorough and well thought out, and you thought it was excellent.
Wonderful. Wonderful. I'm glad to hear that. For those who don't know, my computer just locked up and I have no idea what just happened. The last thing I heard was you talking very sporadically for a moment there about the guy who could not show up for Battlefleet Heresy, and that's where my computer went funny.
I basically all I said after that was that despite some hiccups, most of our events sold very well.
Cool. I'm glad to hear that. Did you see a lot of support from the GW coming up to you? Did the GW guys show up and come up to the events and say, "Hey, these are really cool armies," take pictures or anything like that? Did you see any of that community engagement from them?
So that's a very good question that I have some strong opinions on. But so no, the short answer is no, with the exception of Mike Brandt did participate in one of our Legions Imperialis events, and he did say it was a really fun. He enjoyed himself. He's usually facilitating stuff, so he doesn't normally get to play. At least that's the perception that I have. And he seemed to be having a really good time. So that was really nice. But as for any other GW representatives, no one that I'm aware of came up to myself or any of my team to ask about the event or take pictures, in any marketing stuff like that. Just none of that.
Well, that's unfortunate. I would kind of hope that they would show up and at least take some pictures or do something, throw some love Heresy ways.
They might have and just didn't make themselves known. They did provide some prize support for us, which of course I very much appreciate. The various vendors and providers that allowed us to have gave us the prizes that we were able to give out, we greatly appreciated to everybody. Games Workshop gave us or we requested some items, some model kits that we were able to give out, and so it's not that like they did not do anything, but they didn't come over and have any sort of personal conversations with us.
Okay. Did you you said you saw a lot of Heresy or Sons of Horus armies there. What armies really stood out overall in your mind?
So in terms of quantity, the Sons of Horus and Emperor's Children were the most well represented in terms of quantity. And like I said earlier, nearly every army that I saw was just phenomenally painted. So there were a lot that I just personally thought, wow, those are really nice. I was really surprised that I saw no Black Shields armies whatsoever. Because that's one of the armies that I am working on currently. I figured someone would show up with one, but I did not see any. There was one militia player that I saw that I really enjoyed his army, because it was heavy tank list, and all of the tanks were like stylized versions of World War II tanks from different countries.
Cool.
Yeah, they were beautiful. And the gentleman who brought those ended up leaving one like on a table, and that's what I love about these events. Like, no one was going to take that. They brought it back to my table and like, oh, we make sure that the militia guy gets this back.
So sorry about that. We had another computer issue there, folks. This time not mine, but apparently my computer gave Ben computer cancer. So Ben, please continue, sir.
All right. Yeah. So everyone's armies were beautiful. There were a few personal favorites that I really enjoyed. Actually, one of my local guys has a really fun demon army that uses a lot of dinosaur models for his big boys, and they just look really cool. I enjoyed watching those on the table. There were some really, even though I don't like Sons of Horus, personally. Sorry, Duncan.
That's okay.
There were some beautiful armies represented there. as well as the Emperor's Children. Like there's just something like you wouldn't think that a purple army
No,
that should not be.
if it's done right, the Emperor's Children's are usually that color purple is a very like brilliant, vibrant, like it just stands out from the other side of the room color.
It really does. And there were some just immaculate armies, and some there were some Mechanicum armies that maybe it's just the people that I've hung out with, but the Mechanicum players that I have gotten to meet just do this amazing job on weathering that you don't really see as much on other armies. Yeah, I guess it's just the subject matter being robots and all, but the skill that I saw represented was amazing. Yeah, I was really surprised that I didn't see any Black Shields and only one Militia play. Well, I guess I shouldn't be surprised about Militia since they're not super great, but Black Shields surprised me.
What about how about, did you have any Solar Ox or Custodes?
Yes. Only a couple of Custodes players. And I know that there were a couple in the Centurion events. I didn't see any in the Zone Mortalis events, and I didn't see any in the big frontline games. Saw a lot of Solar Ox. Even if it wasn't a full army, a lot of people were using them as allied detachments, just for extra bodies, some extra tanks, and using the new rules from Siege of Cathonia. Yeah, there were a lot of those out there, and some really well painted ones too. Basically every other army was represented by multiple players.
I dig that. Was there any moments throughout the games that you saw or the events you all ran that kind of stood out more than any?
Well, when I'm running around, trying to facilitate, I don't get to, pay as much attention to individual games as I would personally like to. I have my own little cadence that I like to keep. So I like to make sure that I go down, every row, make sure that I interact with every table, take pictures, make sure that everyone's going well, or everyone is doing okay and understands the rules of the event. And so there's not a lot of extra time to just sit and watch, but there were a couple. There was one event, or there was one game in particular that I really liked, and I ended up giving two of the gentlemen involved an award, a recognition for it. It was during the doubles event, and it was two guys that I knew very well, and then playing two gentlemen that I did not know. And I watched them from the other side of the room, and watching how animated they were and how much fun they were having. They were just loud and boisterous, like to the point where they weren't listening to a damn thing I was saying when I was giving out announcements and like round times and whatnot. They were so just involved with their game and the craziness that was going on their table. And I could see that from the other side of the room. And I just thought that is exactly the type of game everyone should be having. Like that's game goals right there. And I saw moments of that all the time, all day, every day. There were a couple of no bad games, but maybe some personality conflicts, I'll say. And there's no way around that. It's just kind of luck of the draw. But luckily the good far outweighed any potential negatives. But that was the game that really stuck out to me. Is like that. That's what I want to see. That's why I do this.
Okay. I know this is kind of going to sound kind of weird.
I love it. I dig it.
Okay, so you already talked about how you saw the World War II themed army that you thought was amazing, and I'm all about that because that just sounds wonderful to me. What I'm kind of curious about is, did you see any conversions that people had on tables that made you just go, holy shit, that is the most kick-ass thing I've ever seen?
Whoa.
Because that's something I've always loved seeing, is the work that people put into the customization of either their whole army, as John has, and as the guy you mentioned earlier with the tanks had, and as I try to do with my own commanders for my own armies. Was there anything there that you saw that just made you go, "Wow, that is jaw-droppingly amazing"?
That was very nearly every army. I generally do. I am in awe of everyone's like hobby ability. I just don't have it. I know where my real talents lie, and that is not it. So basically, every army that walked through those doors, I looked at, I was like, "Damn, that is just so good." Um, but there were a couple of standouts. There was a couple, husband or wife, or I believe, that participated in our Titanicus event, and they were both playing their own Legio, but they were all painted by the same person. I'm not sure if it was the who it was that painted it, but it was this just beautiful metallic purple, almost like a chameleon paint scheme on their Titans, and it was so well done that I couldn't not look at it. It was gorgeous. There was a gentleman who was playing a word bearer's army with demons, and a lot of his demons were scratch. I'm not sure if they were scratch built or just heavily modified, but they were so beautiful. So there were a lot of individual standouts. I wouldn't say that there was like an individual model that really caught my eye. Again, I when I'm in the middle of running an event, I don't have a lot of time to just look and see each individual.
You don't have a lot of time to gawk.
Yeah, and that's while I do try to go and take a look and make sure that I give full appreciation. I don't get to spend as much time on it, really analyzing everything. So there weren't a lot of models that I saw that I was just like, wow, that's. I did get to see a number of the models that were. That the Heresy guys put into the Capital Palette, which is the Nova's painting competition,
Yeah.
and there were some excellent entries this year in the. I especially like the single model categories, like the single infantry models. Those are the hardest for me to make look good. So when other people do it really well, I appreciate that. So there were a few. My good friend of mine, Cody, had a really nice Emperor's Children like Praetor conversion or Captain conversion that was like 5 or 6 different Forge World kits that he had cobbled together to make this really nice like stoic pose where he's pulling his sword halfway out of the sheath, and it was so expertly done that I just that would be the closest one that is just like jaw drop, like wow, that's amazing. Another one of the other attendees, I believe it was Alex, had a really well done Imperial Fist character, not one of the regular ones, but a custom. And they're just I don't know how you make them look that good, especially eyes. I can't. My hand shakes. So there's no way I'm ever going to make an eyeball look good, and they just do it like it's the easiest thing in the world. So yeah, there were a few models that I was just kind of starstruck by.
Cool. Your was there anything that strikes you as your favorite moment throughout the entire Nova for Heresy?
There are a lot of moments that I really enjoyed. There's a lot of moments on the way in the preparation stages that I really enjoyed, and it's usually just those moments where you're sitting around, with with the other team members, just shooting the shit and prepping and painting and just we're just relaxing and enjoying each other's company. And there's a lot of those moments at Nova as well, like when you're sitting there getting to talk to people that you probably don't get to see very often, sometimes only at the event. And it's the thing that always strikes me the most is when I get to see these people and it's like I saw them yesterday. That
Nope, I absolutely understand.
we've not missed a beat. We don't feel like we're obligated to make small talk. We're just like the friendship has already been established. Like it is rock solid. It's not going anywhere, and like it's just you just have that moment of like realization and understanding. Like, yeah, this is why I'm here. Like seeing these people that I have created this connection with, and you have those little moments of realization throughout the entire event. And especially like on the last day, that's to me that's always the hardest day, when people are saying their goodbyes, and like hopefully I get to see you next year, but there's no guarantee you're gonna be able to come back next year, or what's the next event you are gonna go to, maybe we can meet up there. Like, so those are the moments that really stand out to me personally.
That makes sense. I know that one of my favorite things is seeing new and old friends at events when I go. I mean, I don't get to hang out with people like John or Jamie in person that much. We pretty much see one another at things like Adepticon. So those moments when you're sitting there with your friends who you've made multiple times over the years, hanging out with people at the con, yeah, I definitely get why that would be a favorite moment.
Well, as many games as I play, I don't remember the games that well. Like, there are a couple of moments, some particularly ridiculous dice rolls, or something that's above and beyond that, that kind of sticks with you. But I don't remember the individual games very much. But I remember the people. I remember the general feeling that I have with them. And as the event stack up, that's the thing that I hold on to most, is like that general feeling is what I'm chasing, that feeling of just contentment, and like that's how I feel fulfilled, just as a person. Like these are my people, this is my family, this is my community. These are the people that I want to bring together, just as often as I possibly can. And so those moments are the ones that always stick with me. I love the game, so don't get me wrong. I enjoy rolling dice. No matter, you put dice in front of me, I'm going to roll them up, just out of need. But just the feeling I get when I'm hanging out with people and just talking and enjoying ourselves, that's fifth kiss.
I will agree with you there. I will absolutely agree with you there. Well, I can't think of any questions beyond what I've already asked that I'd like to ask. Actually, I can. Ignoring the roadmap, we've touched on that topic. What is the one thing that you are most looking forward to for the next, until the next Nova, possibly from GW for Heresy?
You know, for the last 10 years or so that I've been playing Heresy, I don't think a lot of my group has really worried much about what GW is doing when it comes to Heresy. I think that they have done a really good job with it. There's some problems here and there. I really hope that they keep giving us well thought out options. It doesn't need to doesn't need to be night and day changes. Some new models, some new units here and there. Just keep doing what they're doing to keep interest high, and making sure that people understand that like this is a living, thriving game system and community. But what I'm looking forward to the most is just more events. It's not just Nova for me. I am running, or I'm participating in a number of events over the next year, including Adepticon. I'm going to go back this in 25. I'm kind of excited to see the new venue in Wisconsin. But like I it's not like Nova's not just the one point on my roadmap that I'm excited about. I'm excited about community building and Heresy all year round.
Okay.
Not sure if
Well,
that was exactly the answer that you wanted out of that, but that's the one you're getting.
no. As long as that's what you're most looking forward to, more power to you. I definitely understand where you're coming from.
I mean, you asked me earlier, like there were some things that like what I would do again and what I would change. And every event that I'm a part of, I kind of have a system that I keep myself on for the most part, and that's worked out pretty well. Like I've had a lot of success with that over the years, and so I don't see a reason to change the system entirely. But I always want things to shift a little bit. I don't want things to just feel static. Like there's something comforting knowing
You want there
what
to be positive change, not
yeah,
just
positive.
static boring.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's there's something nice and comforting knowing what an event is, but I don't necessarily want it to be the exact same as it was last year. Like, so I always make an effort to add new mechanics to missions, change it up. Like if you come to one of my events, it's never going to be an event or a mission out of one of the rule books. It's always going to be something custom. So stuff like that I want to keep doing. I want to always make it fresh. I always want to take in whatever critique the player base wants to give. Always want to give them what they want, within reason, because people don't always know what they want. But there are some things that I would like to change. The scheduling this year at Nova was a little crazy. We really went out on a limb with some of our scheduling decisions, and I think some of them worked out exceptionally well, and some of them were a little harder to maintain. So gonna hit the drawing board again and see how do we mitigate some of those problems. How do we delegate certain tasks a little better? I mean, the truth of the matter is that we're all adults. We've got families, we've got careers, we've got kids, sickness. Things happen. So having a better plan in place for how we delegate tasks and how certain event or every event is backed up should something happen to the lead for an event, like having that prepared and ready to go will go a long way in ensuring that we are successful long term.
Sounds absolutely, yeah. Anybody else got any questions or anything they want to interject?
So if there's other TOs that would like to get in touch with you, Ben, about just shooting ideas off you about events and stuff, is there someplace that people can reach you?
Absolutely. First, you can go to novaheresy.com, and that's our kind of landing page. That'll take you to our Facebook page, which you can, anyone is more than welcome to friend me on Facebook. And ask me questions there. That is also a link to all of the current or this year's players packets. But I also am putting all of our materials into a Dropbox for multiple years. So all of the Nova event packets for the last 3 years, all of the other conventions that I participate in, anything that I've developed or has been provided for me or developed as part of my team, we put it all in there, and like we'll pass it out to anyone who wants it. So Facebook is an easy one to get a hold of me on, and anyone is welcome to email me at ben.c.marsh@gmail.com. And I'm happy to answer any questions, provide any material support I can, just talk, ideas, bounce them off the wall. I'm happy to help in whatever way that I can.
Yeah, I mean, we know tons of TOs, and it seems like it's a good idea for y'all to kind of like bounce ideas off of each other a lot for events and stuff, or just to come up with either new ideas or to kind of gauge what's already transpired with existing events and stuff like that. So that's why I was asking.
Absolutely. No, I agree. Yeah, what I would like to have is just every TO event organizer or whatever, like send everything they can to me, and just or I send someone everything I've got, and it just be in a central repository that anyone and everyone can just have unfettered access to. There's no reason to reinvent the wheel every time you want to run an event, and especially if you are a new event organizer, you don't have a lot of experience. Taking a little bit of that pressure off of you that you have to, be this creative powerhouse and make all of these brand new things that no one has done before. No, it's fine. There's other things that have been developed. You can totally use them. You can make them your own, but you don't have to start from scratch.
No, that's awesome, dude.
That's a very good thing to put out there.
Yeah, I know. We've had tons of people ask about, who should we get in contact with about events and like running stuff, and that have had a lot of experience, and so that's awesome. Thank you.
Absolutely. I will add, if you don't mind, I do a little bit of a shameless self promotion.
Nothing wrong with that.
So I have a company here in Hampton Roads, Virginia, called the Southeastern Tabletop Gaming Organization, and it's the name that we run our events around here under. But we have a convention coming up in October called Call to Arms. It's the weekend of October 11th through the 13th, and it'll be the third year that we have run this. And I mean, it's a far cry from Nova, but it's ours. It's our baby. So it's gonna have numerous tabletop gaming events. Heresy, of course, Warhammer 40K, Age of Sigmar, Infinity, Bolt Action. Excuse me. And then lots of other bespoke games, demos, kids games. So if you happen to be in the area, would love to spread the word and have you come by. But we're really looking forward to it, and we are on track to having the most successful event yet. And I credit that to the people that I have met through my adventures, and my connection with the various gaming communities through events like Nova, Adepticon. In fact, a group of guys from the Triangle Heresy team are going to be driving up from North Carolina, and the only reason they know about it is because I met them at Adepticon. So, the networking thing does really work.
Neat. That's awesome.
So super excited about that, and I will. I'll answer any other questions, but I do want to end it off on just a very sincere thank you to everyone listening, to you guys, everyone who is a part of this community. The things that you do, even if it's just being there and playing games and being just a positive person on the tabletop. Like, you are what make this community go round, and it's an honor for me to get to serve that community in whatever limited capacity that I am, just giving you a place to come and be a good person amongst other great people. I really, really enjoy that, and I thank you guys for having a platform that you're sharing with me tonight, and you share with so many listeners all the time, and just spreading the word in the community and making it grow, and that's just being a positive influence, and I appreciate that.
Well, thank you.
Well, thank you.
And thank you for the same.
Yep.
John, Jack, anybody else got anything else you want to say tonight?
I agree with everything Elman said.
Cool. Jack, I know you've lost your voice. That's why you've been quiet tonight.
Duncan, tell John to take us out of here.
Right. John, Jack says take us out of here.
All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us this week. And I'm John. I've been joined by
Duncan.
Jack?
I'll say for Jack and Jamie.
And our guest tonight,
Ben.
Always remember to stay accountable to yourself and to your buddies and to your hobby. And we'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.
Night all.
Bye. Love you all. Bye.
There you go.
Like and subscribe, and see ya.